I've loved 28 Years Later's marketing strategy so far, but I wish the movie's director didn't reveal this detail about Cillian Murphy's role in the new trilogy. The upcoming 28 Years Later is very exciting, since it will be the first film in the franchise since 2007's 28 Weeks Later. Additionally, the highly anticipated film will be directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, the duo behind the first film in the zombie series. Because of this, it makes sense that Murphy will appear at some point in the new trilogy. Murphy played Jim, the main character in 2002's 28 Days Later. Even though he survived the events of the first film, Jim didn't appear in 28 Weeks Later, which makes his inclusion in the new trilogy extra exciting. Since Murphy won't appear in the first film in the trilogy, some fans are actually already more excited for 28 Years Later's sequel than they are for the movie that is releasing in just a few weeks. However, I'd be much more excited for 28 Years Later and its follow-up films if Boyle didn't reveal an important detail about Murphy's return. Since 28 Days Later is widely regarded as one of the best zombie movies ever, anticipation was high for 28 Years Later right when it was announced. However, after the release of the first trailer for 28 Years Later, myself and many other fans got way more excited about the upcoming movie. Rather than normal background music, the trailer for the newest movie in the franchise features the poem Boots by Rudyard Kipling, which creates a very eerie vibe for the film. Additionally, the trailer thankfully doesn't give much away about 28 Years Later's story, which might be very unpredictable. The first trailer is arguably the best movie trailer in years, but the second trailer also didn't disappoint. In fact, 28 Years Later's second trailer actually includes a hidden message, which is quite unique. Several shots in the second trailer include symbols that can be deciphered using a Pigpen cipher. These symbols spell out the Latin phrase memento mori, which translates to remember to die. This phrase is also the password to a website called rajaleaks.net, which features hints for what 28 Years Later's story might be about and a file that includes the following message. The virus brought us more than the rage. The sorrow for our lost home. The guilt for the ones we left behind. The righteous indignation for the secrets being kept from us. It's been almost 28 years since the outbreak, and still not a single shred of truth about what's really going on. They say it's to protect us. It's for our own good. After all this time, what are they still hiding? They classify satellite images. They forbid any communication with survivor communities. They suppress rumors and discredit reports that somehow the infected have adapted. They don't want us to see, but we must bear witness, all of us. In addition to 2 exceptionally edited trailers and the hidden message, which is a very creative marketing strategy, Boyle revealed that Sony has been very careful not to reveal too much about the story of the film. Therefore, even if you think you may know what the plot of 28 Years Later will be about, you're probably wrong. Speaking to Liam Crowley at a special 28 Years Later preview event hosted by Screen Rant, together with Sony Pictures and Regal Entertainment, Boyle said, "It doesn't go where you think it's going to go. That's really important, and that was really important for us as filmmakers, and I think for all of us. It's what attracted this caliber of actor to it. And what Alex and I were determined to do was to try and surprise people. That's why Sony won't show the whole film yet, because they want it to be revealed as late as possible for the pleasure of the storytelling. And it is really interesting. The story from the element of it isn't what you think. The military do turn up, but again, it's not at all what you think happens with the military. They don't weaponize the virus. That doesn't happen. I'd love you to come and see the whole thing." Based on the trailers for the film, it's clear that Aaron Taylor-Johnson's Jamie and Jodie Comer's Isla will be important characters, as well as their son, Spike. Additionally, the film will also focus on Ralph Fiennes' Dr. Kelson and Jack O'Connell's Jimmy, who could end up being the trilogy's main villain. However, based on Boyle's comments, it is hard to predict exactly what the upcoming movie and its follow-up films will be about. According to the director, 28 years later will also see the return of the military in an unexpected role. Since Sony, Boyle, and Garland have been so secretive about the plot of 28 Years Later, it's surprising that Boyle has spoiled a major detail about Murphy's eventual return. It's understandable to announce that Murphy will be reprising his role in the upcoming trilogy. After all, this made fans of the original movie significantly more excited about 28 Years Later and its sequels. However, the details about when Murphy would appear in the new trilogy should have been kept a secret. Unfortunately, this isn't the case, as Boyle has revealed that Murphy will appear at the end of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Previously, Boyle was very unwilling to reveal too many details about Murphy's role in the 28 Years Later trilogy. At Screen Rant's aforementioned 28 Years Later fan event, he would not discuss the fates of Cillian Murphy and Naomie Harris characters from 28 Days Later. However, in a different interview, Boyle revealed that the Bone Temple director Nia DaCosta vowed to work with Murphy a little bit for the end of the second film. He said, "After the release of 28 Years Later, fans won't have to wait very long to watch the second film in the trilogy." The Bone Temple has already been filmed and is scheduled to release in theaters on January 16, 2026. This is very exciting, but because of Boyle's recent comments, a very important detail about the Bone Temple's ending is already known. I wish Boyle didn't reveal exactly when Murphy would show up so far in advance, as it would have been fun to speculate about when he would return between the first two movies in the trilogy. If Boyle hadn't already revealed this important detail about the sequel, Murphy's return near the end of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple could have caused some amazing theater reactions. It would have been great going into the sequel unsure whether Murphy would be in the film. This is no longer possible, and it's disappointing that there may be less suspense while watching the second movie. However, despite my disappointment, I'm very happy that Murphy will appear in the Bone Temple. As Boyle mentions, Murphy's inclusion near the end of the Bone Temple will hopefully ensure that the third movie in the trilogy gets made. Even though he handed director's duties over to DaCosta for the Bone Temple, Boyle has claimed that he wants to helm the final movie in the trilogy. The first movie obviously looks incredible, and Boyle and Garland clearly have an ambitious vision for this trilogy, so I desperately want the third movie to be made. Overall, a third 28 Years Later movie needs to be made so that Murphy's character can be given a proper conclusion.